Hello, my name is Sarah Clay. I'm here with you this evening to discuss Reading Don't Fix No Chevys, Literacy in the Lives of Young Men by Michael W. Smith and Jeffrey D. Wilhelm. This book has supplied me with a lot of interesting information. But first, before we get into the book, I want to share with you a graphic organizer I used while I was reading the book to help put together my facts, to help me summarize some of the information, and to help me keep track of my thoughts. I used a graphic organizer called 321, or you could Google or look up 321 notes, and this is what the one I have looks like. While you're reading, you put 3 things that you learned, 2 interesting facts, and the one question you may have when you're finished. Now, I use this for the entire book, so I thought about this when I was finished. You could use it per chapter, possibly if you're working with students. You could also adapt it for a younger age level rather than secondary students. They can write 3 things they learned, 2 interesting facts, and then perhaps draw a picture about the text to help them remember and visualize what went on in the text. I looked at it. I looked at a lot of different graphic organizers. I chose this one because I felt that it was simple and easy to remember if you use it with your students. After seeing it a couple of times, it is something that they could perhaps fold a paper and create on their own to help them summarize tough information or a lot of information that they're gathering. So I thought that that was helpful. So let's get started. I learned so much about how boys look at reading. Young male teenage boys do not particularly care for reading unless it's something that they're interested in. There are the 3 big things that they speak about in the book are the control, boys want challenge, and boys want to show their competence. So let's talk about control first. Most teachers present students with, we're reading this book. They have no choice in what they're reading. They start reading a book. It's not really going anywhere. They didn't front load the book in any type of special way to make it interesting. They just dive into a book and expect boys to like it or students to like it. That's not usually going to get a boy excited about reading a text. Boys want a little bit of choice. It's important to get to know your students, so you know what their interests are. Maybe a teacher can compile a list. Okay, we're going to read this type of book, this genre. These are the books you have to choose from. That way it gives the boys and female students a choice in what they're reading. They have a little bit of say-so. That's important. You don't want to be told to go, you're eating a specific thing for dinner. They don't want to be told they're reading a specific book because you may not like Brussels sprouts, for instance. They may not like Pride and Prejudice. Okay, so they want a little bit of choice. Challenge. They don't want it to be too easy. If a task is too easy, then it's not worth their while. If a task is too challenging, then they're going to struggle and people are going to see that. They don't like that. They want it to be challenging enough to where it sparks their interest. They have to figure some things out, and then they reach a finish line. they do not, if they feel they can't reach that finish line, then they're just going to give up. Okay, the third thing is competence. They want to feel that they are knowledgeable in the area they're discussing or reading about or the task they're completing. If they feel they can't do it, or they don't know enough about it, they're not going to be comfortable in sharing with the class. I feel that these are right on target. I have 2 teenage boys myself, and the things that have been mentioned in the book, I can see apply to my own children. They want control. They want those choices. They want to be challenged. If they're challenged too much, they just get mad, they give up. And then competence. They want to know what they're talking about. They don't want to be embarrassed. Several ways that a teacher can provide and help out in these 3 areas are by the activities we choose. Like I said, teachers can provide a book list, giving them a choice. You can also front load if you have to read a specific book. Then front load it with a fun activity, giving them some information up front that's helping them with their competence. That's providing some motivation for them to look forward to, something to figure out, a place to start, piquing their interest so that they're a little more eager to read that text. And then if you're going to do project-based learning, challenging them by giving them a test, a question and an answer test. That to them doesn't mean as much as if they have to perform some kind of activity or create something. Most boys are active. They don't sit still. They're creating something, they're doing something all the time. We want to promote that in our boys. This is something they like to do, so we want to bring that into the classroom. And that will also provide another level of motivation for them. Getting them into the classroom, getting them excited, allowing them to do things that they're already interested in and that they like. And you can do this by talking and listening to your students. Get to know them. Figure out what Jimmy, who usually sits in the back of the room in the corner and is very quiet, likes to do. And then figure out how to bring that into your classroom. If he likes to go fishing, maybe you can read a book about going fishing or talk about a text about a river or something like that, and then bring an article in about fishing. Layer things in so that there are different things coming into the classroom about fishing or the lake or something that would pique his interest and something that he's knowledgeable at. If you do that, he'll be more eager to share, be able to participate in class and feel that competence. Boys also, according to Wilhelm and Smith, boys also value their social relationships. It mentions several times in the book that boys would go out and read a newspaper to get scores for the baseball game last night. That they missed watching the ball game on TV. They would search out the information that they knew their friends would be discussing the next day, and they knew their friends would expect them to know. So they were searching for that information. But again, these are things that they're interested in, things that they like, things that they want to find out. You want to recreate this in your classroom to promote the motivation. I found a couple interesting facts in the text. I'm going to share those with you. I thought it was surprising that in 1996, the National Assessments of Educational Progress, or the NAEP, that the females outperformed the males on literacy measures by 25 points on a 500-point scale. I thought this was a considerable amount. Another one I wanted to share with you that the most recent NAEP was conducted in 1998, provides a little bit better news. Boys' scores went up at grade level 4 and grade 8, though they remained the same in grade 12. So we did make a little progress, but for some reason in grade 12 it didn't move very much, and this is concerning to me. All right, I can see where schools are not really conducive to the needs of boys and how they conduct themselves. We want people sitting still in class. We don't really want you up and moving. Yet boys have all this energy they have to expend, and they're used to activities. Boys like sports, basketball, baseball, all these things they're moving for, and they're willing to practice to get better at. But they're not really willing to practice and get better at reading. So we have to bring the activity into the literacy. And that's what I took from one of the things that I've taken from this book. I have actually a couple questions that I have written on my graphic organizer. As I was reading this book, I'm thinking about the boys in my class. And I teach elementary school, so but I have also taught secondary. I was thinking about the boys that I've had in class previously and currently, and if I were to implement one item from this text to close the gap between males and females and to motivate my young male students, what would it be? One thing that they mention in the book that I feel really passionate about is inquiry learning. Provide the kids with a question. Put them in different groups. Give them different texts. And have them share with each other so that they can come up with an answer to the question. And along the way, they're learning different things. They're becoming knowledgeable about the topic with their specific book. They're finding that competence, and they are then willing to share, participate in class, and educate their peers, which are in the class with them. It's also providing them with some choice, especially if you're offering them a choice, which group, which text they want to use, what looks appealing to them, all just because you want them to answer a question. And they're motivated to figure it out. You're front-loading the activity, sparking their interest. It's a project. They're actively learning. They can even create something at the end. I think inquiry learning is a winner. And that is the way I'm going to go. That's the one thing that I'm going to take from this book to start with to implement into my classroom. I'm going to do one thing at a time. Can't implement everything at once. Make it easy, choose something, start there, grow a little at a time. I cannot say enough about the book. I've been seeing changes in my students as I've been reading this book and incorporating different elements into my class. I've been providing my male students with a little more control over what they're doing, providing them with choices, figuring out the students, what they like, what they dislike, what they know about, what they don't know about, what their levels are, and what I feel they can accomplish in order to challenge them just enough and to provide them with that competence. I can tell when talking to them how they feel about a specific topic. I can give them enough information to where they feel like they can share. I can provide them with something to look at, a little different activity, so that they feel they know what they're talking about and are willing to share with the class. I'm providing more opportunities for movement and activity in my class, which is providing motivation to come to class the next day, to get involved in the activity. They're actually smiling when they do it, and they're promoting that by doing group activities and moving around and sharing with each other. They're promoting those social relationships that they rely on so much with their friends. Reading Don't Fix No Chevys. Literacy in the lives of young men. Literacy is important, and they seek it out when it suits their needs. We need to make sure that we are fulfilling those needs in our classrooms. Michael W. Smith and Jeffrey D. Wilhelm have hit the nail on the head and have provided so much information that it's hard for me to share it all with you, especially being excited about it. They have provided several solutions in here to help you promote literacy with your young adolescent males in your classroom. The one I chose is the inquiry learning, but that is definitely not the only one in here. I encourage you to read the book. I encourage you to fill out your graphic organizer, to share your book with your peers in your school, and to find what suits your classroom. I challenge you to motivate your boys, to get them reading and excited about it. Thank you.